Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Dr. Spotfire. We're here every first Tuesday of every month, and then the session is live on YouTube. I'm Athira Lattar from Spotfire, your co-host for this session, and then today we're going to learn about all the new features in Spotfire 14. We will cover Samsung's version 12 that are worth mentioning. With us, we have Arnaud Baron, Senior Product Manager here at Spotfire, and Jose Leverrier, our co-host for today's session.
Hello, everyone.
So, Spotfire is a data science platform that gives engineers and data scientists the power to analyze data and insights and take action. Spotfire is a platform for self-service analytics that also enable data scientists to perform different tasks, starting from data acquisition to data presentation.
Yes, remember to subscribe for our recorded sessions. Remember, it's live first Tuesday of every month, but we do have the pre-recorded sessions on our community site where you can watch previous version. That's the link right there, youtube.com /Dr. Spotfire.
Thank you, Say. And we also you also can find the previous sessions of Dr. Spotfire in our community page. You can watch them on demand and then ask questions. We will respond to that, and then you can also use that community website to send us your questions.
So there's going to be a special Dr. Spotfire session coming next. And we're going to talk about the Spotfire Copilot, which is a tool that allows you to have it's like the natural language. You can interact with Spotfire, tell them what to do, and we're going to talk more in detail. So stay tuned.
Okay, and then we would like to kick our presentation with our motto: learning is often fueled by questions, and questions spark curiosity, encourage exploration, and then lead a deeper understanding of a subject. They challenge us to think critically and seek answers that drives the process of learning. So let's get started with today's session and welcome our guest speaker, Arnaud Baron, Senior Product Manager of Spotfire. Arnaud, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Atir. Hello, everyone. So I'm Arnaud Barin. I'm part of the Spotfire product management team. I'm responsible for the visual analytics data management capabilities of Spotfire. So we already shared everything what's new about Spotfire 14. Let me share my screen right now. And I will go through a few points that I selected for Spotfire 14. I hope you see my screen.
Yes.
First, the usual confidentiality and the confidentiality disclaimer. I don't expect to talk about future upcoming capabilities in this in my presentation today, but if I do, there is this disclaimer in place in case. We talked about what is Spotfire. I won't go further. Basically, Spotfire is built for data discovery. Spotfire is, it's not just about data visualizations, but it's about the outcomes from a data analysis. And in the same way, Spotfire is not much about preparing data, but it's more about letting users shape the data to derive some meaningful insights. And so Spotfire is for people who are passionate about their business, for people who don't analyze data for its own sake, but who analyze data to achieve something. And we have multiple examples of use case in many industries. Could take the example of the geologist, on the oil and gas for an oil and gas company who use Spotfire to optimize drilling operations, to minimize its environmental impact. Could take the example of the yield engineer in high-tech manufacturing who wants to minimize waste, or the medicinal chemist in life science who wants to develop safe and effective vaccines. We have lots of use cases like that of Spotfire users, about the brand managers, the financial experts, the logistic expert as well. So this section, yeah.
Oh yeah, I just want to highlight that Arnaud, that it's not just a tool. Spotfire is not just a tool; it's a platform, and that has a lot of power.
Yeah, exactly. I think what one important aspect of Spotfire, apart from everything that makes it a great data science and analytics tool, is that Spotfire is extendable. You can customize it to your own business needs. I think that's what makes it a platform today, something that you can build on top of. All right. Last month we released Spotfire 14.0 LTS, just to make sure everyone knows about our two different release cadence. We have the long-term support releases that are released approximately every year, somewhere in September, and the mainstream releases, which are more that are released more often, so around every 2 months. So the latest LTS is 14.0 released last month, and the last supported LTS version of Spotfire is Spotfire 12.0 that was released back in the summer last year. And so Spotfire 14.0 LTS will be supported for the next 2 years at least. In this release, we have lots of new features, lots of improvements all around the platform. Visual analytics, data access, data wrangling, data management, data science, analytics applications, lots of things for the admins and on the deployment side. And as always, also for developers, when we release new capabilities, we try as much as we can to bring these capabilities also through APIs for developers. So this is the list of everything that is new since the last LTS release, Spotfire 12 that was released last year. We have more than 80 new features and improvements since then. Compared to Spotfire 12.5, released a bit earlier, I think it was early this summer, we have 20 new features and improvements.
And there's going to be more to come on just in future versions of Spotfire as we develop.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. So for today, I will not present everything that is new because, as you can see, it's unreadable. There is a lot of content. But what I did is I just made a selection of key things that we released with a focus more on visual analytics, data management in Spotfire.
And guys, if you have any questions, just go ahead and put it in the comments. And if we can answer them live, we can always follow up. And in case you're watching this pre-recorded video, you can also welcome to put your comments on either platform you're watching, YouTube.
All right, so you should see Spotfire now. So the first new features I want to talk about today, and that's something we released in 14.0 last month, 14.0 LTS, is the ability to export visualizations to Excel. I think this was one of the most requested ID or one of the most voted ID in the IDs portal. And with this functionality, you can ensure that a tabular report can be easily shared as tabular data for Excel, just as it was designed in Spotfire. So you can share and leverage the results and insights you got in Spotfire, like for example here, with people in your organization who don't use Spotfire. And this works with tables, cross tables, as you can see here, graphical tables, summary tables as well. So here I have a cross table here where I customized a bit the styling. I modified the colors of the headers, change also from the properties here. You can change, you see I use a different font type than what is used by default. I used some coloring rules as well. Coloring also in the sales background. I colored the subtotals in a particular way. Anyway, I created my own table design. And now with just one right click on the table, I can now export this visualization to Microsoft Excel. I select where to save it, and I'm done. Now opening this file to Excel, you see I retrieve exactly the same layout and the same formatted that is respected here. Even the header, you see if I scroll here, even the headers and the freezed rows and columns are kept exactly as I designed it in Spotfire. And it works exactly the same way. Here in this case for graphical table, which is a bit particular because we have graphs included in it. Here a sparkline, then a bullet graph, and then I have some icons that I display to show what are the top products, for instance, what are the products where my profit is quite low compared to the rest. So I do the same. I right click, export visualization to Microsoft Excel and save. And again, if I open this in Excel, I retrieve my exact same layout that I built in Spotfire. So this way I can share this file with others in my organizations. They will be able to learn about these insights without having to use Spotfire if they don't have access to it. So that's the new export to Microsoft Excel from tables visualizations in Spotfire. Here I'm using the Spotfire Windows client. It works in the exact same way from the web client. And you'll see actually that all the features I will talk about today are both available on the Windows client and on the web client as well. We have a big focus on web authors for quite some time now, and we will continue in that. The plan is to continue in that direction.
One quick question, Arnaud. When I export, for example, this graphical table to Excel, is that an image or I can edit the text of that export?
Yeah, you have full hands on it. If I get back, let's say to my first table here, you can edit the values directly. But for, if I get back to my graphical table here, when it comes to sparklights or bullets, these are images that are exported.
Okay, and the text on the left?
Yeah, you can edit them.
Okay, perfect.
Of course.
Thank you, Arnaud.
Next is the KPI chart. Here is a very simple KPI chart that I set up to quickly visualize some profit indicators at different levels. You have the category level, subcategory level, and then at the product themselves level. So here, if I go to my properties here, you see I actually have 3 different KPIs for each different levels, like I just said, and that's how the chart looks. But it's kind of packed, right? You don't see the distinctions between my 3 different KPIs. I think it's kind of hard to read. And so in Spotfire, with Spotfire 14.0, we have an array of enhancements granting the report developer or the visualization author with more control over how KPIs charts looks, their layout, and also the formatting. Initially, the main use case for KPI chart is to convey essential metrics or performance indicators in a clear and concise way. And we actually originally developed this visualization with mobile users in mind, where this visualization, I think, is very well suited. But it also has grown popular on regular computer screen size. So the main request that we observed from users is that they want more control on the layout, more control on the formatting of the KPIs. So let me show you the improvements we made to the KPI chart. The first thing I want to do is to separate my KPIs. So I go to properties, and from there, under appearance, I have this new option here to start each KPI on a new row. Just by clicking this, makes already my visualization a bit more digestible, I guess, because we clearly see the different types of KPIs with the 3 different levels. You have the end on the layout here. You can adjust the spacing if you want. Then the next thing I want to do is to control the font of the text inside tiles. That's also something new. So I just go to fonts there and choose another font. Let's say this one. And just like that, I can change the font as well as the size. And you see, as I modify the size of the tiles are changing live. The next thing I want to do is to make sure that these KPIs look great on mobile. Let me close this one. You see, if I resize my screen and switch to a mobile-like layout, a vertical layout, it shows great, but the tiles takes lots of space and it takes me a lot of scroll to go to the bottom. So I may want to tweak that a bit. Instead of showing just one tile in vertical mode, I would like to show more. And now you can do it. You just go back to properties, appearance. And from there, I will tweak a bit the size, the minimum tile width relative to the font size we just set. Let's set, I don't know, something like this. And you can also set the minimum number of tiles per row. So in this case, maybe better to show 2, let's say. And I close. So it doesn't change a lot here when I'm on my desktop screen. But if I change to mobile mode, then the tiles scales to content and to resize based on the setting I just set. So you get a much more readable KPI chart. I think this will be very useful when it comes to mobile navigation. When you sometimes some of the use case we see is the use of KPI tiles as menu to navigate between pages. And so with these new improvements, this is something that will become much easier. All right, let me switch here. We also have released new visualizations in Spotfire during the year. The last one that was just released a few days ago, I think it was last week, and it's probably the most advanced visualization built using the visualization mods framework, is the violin plot mod. This visualization was developed by the Spotfire data science team in collaboration with our partner Genware, and it combines the advantage of both a box plot and a kernel density plot. So yeah, it looks like a box plot, but you see we have a rotated kernel density plot on each side to show the probability density of the data at different values. And you can include markers at different measures, like the median and interquartiles. As in a standard box plot, you can also include a statistic table. It supports trellis, as you can see here. And this, let me call it violin box plot, is supported on the web client in comparison to the box plot available in Spotfire, which currently is only available on the Windows client to configure. The violin plot is available since last week. If you are a Chico Cloud Spotfire subscriber, you already have it in your library. Nothing to install. You just either search on the library for violin plot, or maybe look at the visualization panel here, and you'll find the violin plot. You can search for it. And the violin is also available from GitHub. So you can download the source code or directly download the mod and install it in your own Spotfire environment. Jose, you have a question?
No, just no. Maybe you can see a little bit the screen if you can.
Zoom?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. And since Spotfire 12, we had multiple other visualizations released. I can mention the intelligent narrative mode built by our partner Aria. This one enables to narrate data or to describe visualizations using natural language. It also allows to have conversations with data. You can literally ask questions about the data, and the visualization responds with textual insights. We released a Pareto chart mode. This one is useful to highlight the most important factors among a typically large set of factors. Useful, for instance, if you need to indicate the frequency or cause of problems and their cumulative impact. Here, we released, and Jose, you know a lot about this one, we released the scatter plot matrix mode, also developed by the Spotfire data science team. I know, Jose, you were involved. And this one is used to determine correlations, if any, between a series of variables. You have a weather mode to display live weather, a tag mode also to display different tags. That's very useful. When you have textual information in a column, you can separate that as tags that are selectable, and many others. So for each mode, each of them are released. If you are a TIBCO Cloud Spotfire subscriber, you already have them in the library ready for use. If not, they are all available from the TIBCO Community Exchange website or from GitHub. If you go to the Spotfire software GitHub account, from there, you just search for mod, and you will find all the repositories for all the mods that we have, for instance, here. The Gantt chart, you have a wiki page that explains how to use the mod. If you are a developer or if you're interested to improve this visualization, you can access directly to the source code. If you are a user who wants to use this mod, you just download the latest version from here and drag and drop into Spotfire. All right, so I'm getting back to my initial analysis. So in this analysis, I just have some product reseller orders informations with some pricing, discounts percentage, some profits calculations, etc. And I'm in my web browser, actually. That's an important point. As I said at the beginning, we are making a lot of progress for web authors, with more and more capabilities now available to users who analyze their data or develop analysis using the web client only. One example of new feature that is available is tags. The tags panel is now available on the web. So tags are used to gather data rows according to your own choice. Using tags, you can quickly identify tagged rows in different visualization contexts. For example, here, I can create a new tag group that I will sell reseller profits. And I will add tags as rating, like good, bad. Okay. And I have these tags. Now, when I mark some data on the visual, let's say these ones, I can tag these marked data as good, just using drag and drop, like this. And I can use this tag data in other visualizations as well. So let me tag another set like this, for instance, and add it to bad. Okay. Now I unmarked my visuals. And instead of marking manually this data again, I just click good, and this data is marked based on the tag we just created. So this feature has quite good analytics value from my perspective, and is now available to web users. Also for web users is the ability to export data from Spotfire. You can either export data to a file. You can export data from a visualization, from a data table, and choose the format, your preferred format. Or you can export data directly to the library if you want to reuse it in a different analysis. So this is also now available to web users. Next, with marking. Marking are used to visually represent selected data in visualization. This is marking, right? In Spotfire, this is a key concept. It's a powerful way to interact with the data and explore data. As a Spotfire user, you probably use marking to perform a variety of operations, like the one I just did. I light data, but it could be used also to filter data in other chart. Here, if I do a selection on the map, here I can filter data on this visualization next to it. And it is also used, let me switch. It is also used to link visualization together. Here, if I do the marking, this data that is marked here is also marked in all my visualizations. And we introduced recently, I think it was in Spotfire 12.5, a new marking panel that lets you add, edit, remove markings. And this panel is now both available on the Windows client and on the web client. So web authors can now manage markings. And you can notice one new thing here is that by looking at the markings, you can directly understand the use of your markings. So here I understand the number of visualizations that are using this marking. If I click, I directly see the visualizations that are currently using this marking. And I can switch directly to this visualization. Or I can see the visualizations that are limited by a specific marking. Same way, I see this visualization resellers is currently limited by the first marking, and I can switch to it. So that's, I would say, something that being able to see how capabilities in Spotfire propagate is something that we are introducing with markings and something that we are looking to generalize in the Spotfire interface. Being able to know if marking is used and where exactly.
Yes, that's a very good way to organize the markings and the contents and basically map out what's going on, because sometimes you create markings and they stay there. You don't know if they're being used or not. This is a great way to bring it up. I have a question regarding tags.
Mm-hmm.
So someone from LinkedIn says, can you use tags interactively as well, such as changing the color or using as custom properties? So yeah, maybe this is a little bit out of what's new of Spotfire, but I think it's worth mentioning. When you create tags, you create it's basically creating a new column, right? If you open up the filters, you will see the columns and the tags.
It seems I have an issue. I don't have the filters here.
Okay.
But yeah, if you open the filter panel, you will see these columns. I may be wrong here, but for this use case and changing colors and stuff, maybe the bookmark feature is more appropriate. You should look into the bookmark feature from my point of view.
All right. Thanks, Arnaud.
All right. I want to move to the data canvas. So we introduced the data canvas quite maybe a few years ago now as a way to some kind of the backstage of your analysis giving you the data perspective, how your data is constructed under your analysis. So you have this nice pipeline view where you see how I shaped my data. You see here I started with one data set that I added as a column. I did some joins, and I ended up with my joined data with some calculated columns and the tags that we just did, actually. Okay. We made lots of progress with the data canvas. First, if you're a Spotfire 12.0 user or earlier, you will notice this new sidebar, which give you easier access to all the data tables you use or data functions. I don't use a data function in this example, but it would be listed here with the similar view to understand how the data function is set. So you have an easier access to all your tables. It's especially useful if you have large amounts of data sets in Spotfire. We also introduced this, we call it data tables overview. So you can directly select multiple tables and do some operations like deleting in bulk or choosing to reload some data directly from here. You have access also to data tables properties, columns properties, which are metadata that you can add to your data tables. In the data canvas directly, we added data tables settings, these options to switch the way data is stored, or to switch if you want filters to be automatically created, or if you prefer to manage that manually. And you have also options like, for instance, show hiding the data tables in the UI. By the UI, I mean the data panel here, or enabling, disabling caching for calculated columns, which might be important when it comes to performance. Web users, web authors from the data canvas can now also add hierarchies. Here, for instance, I could easily create a hierarchy from continent to country. And in my filters, I will be able to switch between them quite easily. So as you can see, more and more of the data tables properties, columns properties are moving progressively to the data canvas. We see the data canvas as the central access point to managing data in Spotfire. So basically,
I think the option of manually creating filters or automatically for all columns, this will be very useful, especially like for large tables. So you can, just like pick manually what you want to create a filter for instead of creating filters for all columns.
You're completely right, Jose. Yeah, so these features here that I showed you, columns properties, I forgot to show you this. If I select my end data table here, I can see the associated metadata related to columns or the data, and I can directly edit them also. If I want to edit the description of the column, I can do that right here. By the way, I can also do this directly from the data in analysis file. Now you can edit the description of your columns to document your analysis. And so, we see the data canvas now being able to, if I go back to my analysis here, as a new central place that is replacing the data tables property dialog you see here, and the columns properties dialog that you see here. Actually, the column property dialog was deprecated as part of Spotfire 14 OIDC, because you can do everything you can do here can be done in a much faster, nicer way, and modern way from the data canvas directly.
Mm-hmm.
A bit on the data science side, we have what we call a new look for data functions. You will find data functions with icons now. So they are categorized based on the category. We can apply a different icon, so we can find them much faster than before. Also for data functions, we had improved quite a lot the performance when it comes to Python data function execution. Lots of performance improvement here. We also enabled for Python data functions run length encoding. That's a compression that is now enabled, which improved the performance further. Last thing I wanted to show you, I think it's quite an important feature, is favorites. Since Spotfire 12.5 and so Spotfire 14.0 LTS, you can mark any type of items in the library as favorites. So you have a quick access to them. You don't have to browse through the library or search for the library and remember the name or the tags that are applied. You can just favorite these items, and it works for any kind of assets. Here I have folders, I have visualization modes, I have data functions, analysis, data sets, etc. And on the library view on the web, you can of course find them, find your favorite easily. All right, let me get back. Any questions, Jose?
Not so far. They haven't come through yet.
Okay. Yeah, I talked about data functions. I think it's worth mentioning the Spotfire data function library that we have available on the TIBCO Community Exchange. We have lots of data function there that are being worked on and maintained and added by the Spotfire data science team. Actually, that's something in interest. We have I think good presentations on at the TIBCO Analytics forum that you can have a look at. I know this year I was involved into it. We added many data functions around geospatial analysis, and the list is growing and growing.
Yeah, so the data functions, you can do it in Tear or Python, and there's also repository PyPy with many of those data functions are available there, including the source code, so you can just download them, use them.
Yeah, and especially the data science ML toolkit that we released recently. It has a whole bunch of machine learning, time series processing functionality.
Yeah.
So.
And it's right there on the slides. I'm sure Arnaud is going to talk about that.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. I saw that so let me jump to it directly. This DSML toolkit was released, you correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe last month by the Spotfire data science team. Am I right if I saw that it includes about 180 functions? That's what I saw. Yeah. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, so it's a toolkit for data science that is available to you through PyPy. Yeah, a toolkit for data science and machine learning with a comprehensive set of functions that are designed to work seamlessly with Spotfire as data functions. I think it makes it easier to develop predictive analytics with Spotfire, to work with text data, to prepare or analyze time series data. I think there is a big part about time series analysis as part of it. And also calculate things like model drift and keeping track of a model performance. So if you're into data science or interested into data science and machine learning, you should have a look at this. Just search Spotfire DSML on Google, you'll find it very easily. Yeah, about data science. So let me just get back here. So my short demos were focused on visual analytics, data management. I cannot demo everything. But through slide, I just want to point a few important things. I talked about new looks for data functions, faster Python execution. One small, but I think important feature we added earlier this year is a new automation task for data functions, which enables you to run data functions automatically as an automated task, and that enables you to run a data function one after the other, meaning that you can run a data function, execute a data function after a first data function has finished, executed. So you can truly create some kind of data pipeline through that, like with different steps, like data preparation, then prediction, and then, I don't know, maybe exporting the results through a PDF, for instance. This is the kind of thing you couldn't do, or you could do, but it was quite difficult before. I mentioned new data functions. We mentioned the DSML toolkit. One important point is this new Spotfire service for R that we released with Spotfire 12.5 earlier this summer, available in Spotfire 14 LTS. Spotfire service for R comes in addition to the Spotfire service for Python that we already have, and in addition to the Spotfire service for Tear that we also add. And Spotfire service for R enables the execution of data functions developed using the open source R programming language. It means that you can now take advantage of more algorithms available. There is a very vast universe of R packages for statistics and machine learning that you can now use in Spotfire. For Python users, you can bring your own Python engine. You can use your preferred Python version or preferred Python modules in the Spotfire service for Python instead of the bundled engine that we provide. I think today we provide Python 3.8, I guess. When it comes to data connectivity, we always have new capabilities, new improvements in every release, basically. So we added new connectors to Google Analytics 4, which replace the old one, Google Analytics Universal Analytics, if I'm not wrong. You can access data from Databricks, Unity Catalog. You can access data from Amazon Redshift Serverless. We added a new option for Oracle connectors users that lets you tweak the fetch size. This is a way to improve the performance for queries made to Oracle. And where we are always working on new OpenID OAuth 2 authentication improvement in Spotfire. We support for OAuth 2 flows in information services, support for refresh token management, support for user authentication using this type of authentication in zip code data virtualization. I think this one will be my last one. Same for administration and the administrator and deployment. We always have something new. First, we continue developing our support for Linux. Remember, with Spotfire 12.0, we introduced full support for Linux. And since then, we added support for Ubuntu, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and Debian as OS. We also added support for PostgreSQL 15, SQL Server 2022 as the Spotfire database. We have many improvements in scheduled updates and web player performance, many improvements in the web administration UI, which is which is easier to use, much more flexible. That's what I was looking for. Improvements to library versioning. For instance, you can set what items, what analysis is using versioning or not. Improvements in the way you search in the library. You can now, for instance, more easily search the library for items made by or modified by specific users. You can also search for the latest version of a library item. And it's not just about analysis. It could be mods, data functions, information links. You can search by the version name, by comments in the version, or by who created a version. And when you search, you can also create shared library search views. So basically, when you do in the library search, Spotfire library, when you do a search, you can just copy the URL and share it with others. In this way, you can share a view. For instance, you could provide a URL that lists all the main sales-related analyses or sales-related data sources. And if you just copy the URL and send that to other users, they will see the result of the search exactly as you did. So it's a fast way to search views of content from the library. And the last thing also introduced with Spotfire 14.0 is the completely new REST API, library REST APIs that allows external applications to manage library assets. So through this new API, you can list items from the library, you can show details about items, you can download items, upload items, delete items, and search for items. And it also supports various version history operations. That this new API will simplify, like I said, integration with external applications like catalogs, for instance. But this will also simplify the process of promoting or migrating content between environments, between, for instance, a development, test, and production environment, like having a CI/CD pipeline. And Jose, that's all I had for today. If I have a bit more time, I just would like to mention our new website, spotfire.com, where you can see our new Spotfire branding identity, where you can learn about Spotfire and how Spotfire is used in different industries and use cases. You can visit the analytics forum, where you see users' presentations, customers' partner presentations, and what is possible with Spotfire. And this is now your access point to find documentations, demos, and different resources. In the website, we have a Get Involved section, and I think that's a great place to start if you're looking for to learn from other users, from a community of users. If you want to read about Spotfire and analytics in general, or if you have suggestions to improve Spotfire. From there, you click Submit Your ID, and us product managers will review your IDs and probably get back to you to learn a bit more. So when you go to the ID portal, like if you click here, first you will see IDs. You will have a look on our plans. You will see IDs that are implemented. You will see IDs that are being planned to be implemented or likely to be implemented. You'll be able to submit enhancement directly to us. You'll be able to vote or follow your enhancement request. And when you submit an ID or you vote for an ID and the status change, for instance, to planning to implement or likely to implement, you directly receive an email notification about that. So you know about this status change. And of course, with every ID comes a comment section, and we often see direct discussions not only between you and us project managers, but between customers. It's often that we see a customer or the Spotfire data science team, like Jose, for instance, contributing and providing workarounds or solutions to the different problems submitted by the customers. So I really advise you, if you have ideas on how to improve Spotfire, I really advise you to go to the ID portal and vote and create IDs. Actually, and this will be my last slide if we get back to what's new in Spotfire. All the new features and improvements in Reds are directly coming from users' feedbacks through the ID portal. And it's about 1,300 votes that we closed with Spotfire 14.0 since Spotfire 12.
Excellent insight, Arnaud. Thank you for the update. And I also want to mention about the IDS portal. There's a new section on the IDS portal called Learning. And then you can submit ideas for new Dr. Spotfire live session like this one, or if you want to submit a quick video that you want to go like really quickly in 5-6 minutes, explain me something about this specific topic. If you have an idea of a template or examples, white paper, that's the QRC code, and you can actually just go ahead and log it in. And with that, you want to have something?
No, I don't think we have more questions. We have one more question, an example of using multiple functions. I'm not sure if that's related to the new session of Spotfire, but we can get back to it later on. No, I don't have anything else. That was a great demo of new Spotfire features, and I'm sure that there's more that we haven't showed, so can't wait to try them. Thanks everyone, and then stay tuned in every month for Dr. Spotfire. Thanks Arnaud, and then thanks Jose.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.